Imagine waking up at 4 a.m., asking the universe for anything you want, and actually getting it. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, according to spiritual teacher Louise Hay, this might be the key to unlocking the universe's infinite wisdom and abundance. This powerful method can completely change your life because it opens up a direct line to the universe when you're most open to receive. But here's the thing. If you don't try this method, you could be missing out on the universe's guidance and all the amazing things it wants to bring into your life. Using this technique can lead to incredible transformations, but it does take some dedication. Are you ready to set your alarm and discover what the universe has in store for you? Before we dive into the 4 a.m. method, let's talk about the woman behind this powerful technique. Louise Hay was a remarkable spiritual teacher and author who touched millions of lives with her wisdom. Born in 1926, she overcame a challenging childhood and various personal struggles to become one of the most influential figures in the self-help movement. Louise Hay believed that our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality. She taught that by changing our thinking patterns, we could heal our lives and create the reality we desire. Her best-selling book, You Can Heal Your Life, has helped countless people around the world transform their lives through positive affirmations and self-love. Louise Hay's teachings are so important because they offer a simple yet profound way to improve our lives. She didn't use complicated language or hard-to-understand concepts. Instead, she shared easy-to-apply ideas that anyone can use to make positive changes. One of the main reasons her work resonates with so many people is that it empowers us to take control of our lives. Instead of feeling like victims of circumstances, Louise taught us that we have the power to shape our experiences through our thoughts and beliefs. This idea can be life-changing for people who have felt stuck or helpless in their situations. Another key aspect of Louise Hay's teachings is the focus on self-love and self-acceptance. In a world that often makes us feel like we're not good enough, Louise reminded us that we are worthy of love and respect, starting with how we treat ourselves. This message of self-love is at the heart of all her work, including the 4 a.m. method we're exploring today. To understand why the 4 a.m. method works, we need to look at Louise Hay's beliefs about the universe. She saw the universe as a loving, supportive force that wants to help us. According to Louise, the universe isn't some far-off, uncaring place. Instead, it's a responsive energy that's always listening to us and ready to support our growth and happiness. Louise believed that the universe operates based on certain laws, like the law of attraction. This law suggests that we attract experiences and situations that match our thoughts and beliefs. So if we think positive thoughts and believe good things will happen to us, we're more likely to experience positive outcomes in our lives. She also taught that the universe is abundant and that there's more than enough for everyone. This belief challenges the idea of scarcity that many of us grow up with. Instead of fighting over limited resources, Louise encouraged us to tap into the unlimited abundance of the universe. Another important aspect of Louise's understanding of the universe is the idea of divine timing. She believed that everything happens at the right time, even if we can't always see or understand the reasons right away. This belief can help us stay patient and trusting, even when things don't seem to be going our way. Louise Hay's view of the universe as a loving, abundant, and responsive force is what makes the 4 a.m. method so powerful. When we approach the universe with this mindset, we open ourselves up to receiving its guidance and blessings. Now that we understand Louise Hay's perspective, let's explore why 4 a.m. is such a special time. Many spiritual traditions and practices consider the early morning hours, especially around 4 a.m., to be a powerful time for connecting with higher energies. At 4 a.m., most of the world is still asleep. The hustle and bustle of daily life hasn't started yet. This quietness creates a unique environment that's perfect for spiritual practices. Without the usual distractions of the day, our minds can be more open and receptive to insights and inspirations. There's also a practical reason why 4 a.m. can be so effective. When we first wake up, our minds are in a state between sleep and full wakefulness. This in-between state, sometimes called the hypnopompic state, can be very conducive to receiving intuitive messages and connecting with our inner wisdom. From a spiritual perspective, many believe that the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is thinner during these early morning hours. This could make it easier for us to receive messages from the universe or our higher selves. At 4 a.m., our brains operate differently compared to other times of the day. When we first wake up, our brain waves are still in a slower, more relaxed state. This can make us more open to new ideas and less likely to dismiss thoughts that our fully awake, logical mind might reject. During this time, our analytical left brain is less dominant, allowing our more intuitive right brain to take center stage. This shift can enhance our creativity and ability to see connections that we might miss during our normal waking hours. Another interesting aspect of our 4 a.m. mind is that we're less influenced by the thoughts and energies of others. During the day, we're constantly bombarded by other people's opinions, emotions, and energies. This can make it hard to hear our own inner voice. But in the quiet of the early morning, we have a chance to connect with our true selves without these external influences. According to many spiritual teachings, including those of Louise Hay, the universe's energy is particularly potent at 4 a.m. Some describe this time as when the universe resets itself, creating a fresh slate for the new day. The idea is that at this time, the universe is most receptive to our intentions and requests. It's as if the universe is listening more closely, ready to respond to our sincere asks. This doesn't mean that the universe isn't always listening, but rather that we're more able to tune in and receive its messages at this time. Many people report feeling a sense of peace and connection during these early morning hours. This feeling of oneness with the universe can make it easier to trust in its guidance and support. It's important to note that while 4 a.m. is often cited as the ideal time, the exact time can vary slightly for each person. Some people might find their sweet spot for connecting with the universe is at 3:30 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. The key is to find the time when you feel most calm, open, and receptive. Now that we understand why 4 a.m. is so special, let's talk about how to prepare for this practice. Remember, the goal is to create a peaceful, receptive environment that allows you to connect deeply with the universe. First, consider your sleeping environment. Make sure your bedroom is conducive to good sleep so that waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't feel like a huge chore. This might mean investing in a comfortable mattress, using blackout curtains, or keeping your room at a comfortable temperature. It's also helpful to prepare the night before. Set out any items you might need for your practice, like a journal, pen, or meditation cushion. This way, you won't have to fumble around in the dark looking for things. consider using a gentle alarm to wake you up. Harsh, loud alarms can jolt you awake and disrupt the peaceful state you're trying to achieve. There are many alarm apps that offer gentle wake-up sounds like soft chimes or nature noises. Preparing your mind is just as important as preparing your physical space. In the days leading up to starting your 4 a.m. practice, spend some time thinking about what you want to ask the universe. What guidance do you need? What areas of your life could use some divine input? It can be helpful to do some journaling or meditation in the evenings to start tuning into your inner wisdom. This can make it easier to connect when you wake up at 4 a.m. Also, try to go to bed with a positive mindset. Louise Hay often talked about the power of our thoughts right before sleep. She suggested using positive affirmations as you drift off, setting the stage for a productive 4 a.m. session. You don't need much for this practice, but there are a few items that can be helpful: a journal and pen. Writing down your questions and any insights you receive can be very powerful. A warm blanket or shawl. The early morning can be chilly, and being comfortable will help you stay focused. A glass of water. Staying hydrated can help you feel more alert. A candle or soft light. This can create a soothing atmosphere without being too bright and jolting you awake. A timer. This can be useful if you want to meditate for a specific amount of time before asking your questions. Remember, the most important thing you bring to this practice is an open mind and heart. Trust in the process and in the universe's ability to guide you. By preparing thoroughly for your 4 a.m. practice, you set the stage for a powerful connection with the universe. This preparation shows the universe that you're serious about receiving guidance and creates an environment where you can truly listen to its wisdom. As we move forward, we'll explore exactly how to ask your questions, how to listen for answers, and what to do with the guidance you receive. But for now, focus on getting comfortable with the idea of waking up at 4 a.m. and creating a soothing environment for your practice. Remember, this is a journey. It might take some time to adjust to waking up so early, and that's okay. Be patient with yourself and trust that as you consistently show up for this practice, the universe will meet you halfway. Now that you're awake at 4 a.m. and ready to connect with the universe, it's time to ask your questions. This part of the process is crucial, as the way you form your questions can greatly impact the answers you receive. First and foremost, approach this moment with a sense of openness and trust. The universe, as Louise Hay taught, is not judging you or your questions. It's simply waiting to provide guidance and support. So take a deep breath, center yourself, and remember that you're engaging in a loving conversation with a supportive force. When forming your questions, it's important to be clear and specific. Vague questions often lead to vague answers. Instead of asking, "Will things get better?" try something more specific like, "What steps can I take to improve my career situation?" It's also helpful to phrase your questions in a positive way. Instead of focusing on what you don't want, focus on what you do want. For example, rather than asking, "How can I stop feeling so stressed?" you might ask, "How can I bring more peace and calm into my life?" Another tip is to ask open-ended questions. These are questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. Open-ended questions invite more detailed and nuanced responses from the universe. For instance, instead of asking, "Should I take this new job?" you could ask, What opportunities for growth does this new job offer me? Clarity in your questions is key to receiving clear answers. Before you start asking, take a moment to really think about what you want to know. What area of your life needs guidance right now? What decisions are you struggling with? What patterns do you want to change? Being clear doesn't mean you need to have all the answers. In fact, it's often when we're most unsure that we need to ask for guidance. But clarity means knowing what you're really asking about and why it matters to you. Remember, the universe responds to the energy behind your questions as much as the words themselves. So, along with being clear in your language, try to be clear in your intentions and emotions. If you're asking about a relationship, for example, make sure you're coming from a place of genuine desire for growth and understanding, rather than fear or resentment. To help you get started, here are some examples of well-formed questions you might ask during your 4 a.m. practice. What limiting beliefs are holding me back from achieving my goals, and how can I overcome them? How can I better align my daily actions with my long-term goals? What steps can I take to improve my relationships and deepen my connections with others? How can I cultivate more self-love and acceptance in my life? What hidden talents or abilities do I have that I'm not fully utilizing? How can I contribute more meaningfully to my community or the world at large? What changes can I make to my daily routine to support my physical and mental health? How can I better manage my finances to create more abundance in my life? What is the next step in my spiritual growth journey? How can I bring more joy and creativity into my work life? Remember, these are just examples. The best questions are those that come from your heart and address your unique situation and needs. Once you've asked your questions, it's time to listen for answers. This part of the process requires patience, openness, and trust. The universe doesn't always respond in the ways we expect, so it's important to stay alert and receptive to all forms of guidance. The universe's answers can come in many forms. Sometimes you might receive a clear thought or idea that seems to pop into your head. Other times, you might feel a strong emotion or physical sensation. The answer could come as a vivid image in your mind's eye, or even as a song that starts playing in your head. It's also common for answers to come later in the day rather than immediately. You might overhear a conversation that relates to your question, come across a relevant book or article, or have a meaningful dream the following night. The key is to stay open and aware. Don't dismiss anything as coincidence or irrelevant. Louise Hay often said that the universe speaks to us constantly. We just need to learn to listen. Intuition plays a big role in receiving answers from the universe. Often the guidance you receive will come as a gut feeling or a sense of knowing. This can be challenging, especially if you're used to relying solely on logic and reason. To strengthen your intuition, practice trusting these subtle feelings and impulses. When you get a hunch or a sudden idea, don't immediately dismiss it. Instead, consider it carefully and see where it leads you. Remember, intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. As you continue your 4 a.m. practice, you'll likely find that your intuitive abilities grow stronger and clearer. The universe often communicates through signs and synchronicities. These can be things like repeatedly seeing certain numbers, animals, or symbols. You might also notice patterns or coincidences that seem meaningful. For example, if you've asked for guidance about a career change, you might suddenly start noticing job advertisements in your desired field or run into someone who works in that industry. These could be signs from the universe guiding you towards your next steps. It's important to approach these signs with a balance of openness and discernment. Not everything is a sign, but when you're actively seeking guidance, it's worth paying attention to unusual occurrences or repeated patterns. After you've asked your questions and spent time listening for answers, there are several important steps to take to make the most of this practice. One of the most valuable things you can do is to write down your experiences immediately after your 4 a.m. session. This includes the questions you asked, any immediate thoughts or feelings you had, and any signs or insights you received. Keeping a journal of your 4 a.m. practices can be incredibly enlightening. Over time, you may start to notice patterns in the guidance you receive, or see how certain questions lead to particular types of insights. This record can also serve as a source of inspiration and reassurance when you're facing challenges. Don't worry about writing perfectly or making sense of everything right away. Just get your thoughts and experiences down on paper. You can always come back later to reflect and find meaning in what you've written. Receiving guidance is only the first step. The real magic happens when you take action based on the insights you've gained. This doesn't mean you need to make drastic changes overnight. Often, the universe guides us through small, manageable steps. For example, if you received guidance about improving your health, your action step might be as simple as drinking more water or taking a short walk each day. If you got insights about a relationship, your action might be to have an honest conversation with that person. Remember, taking action shows the universe that you're serious about your growth and transformation. It's a way of co-creating with the universe, doing your part while trusting in its support. Sometimes, the guidance you receive might not make immediate sense, or the results of your actions might not be immediately apparent. This is where patience and trust come in. Louise Hay often emphasized the importance of trusting in divine timing. Not everything will happen on our preferred schedule, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Trust that the universe has a plan, even if you can't see all the pieces yet. If you find yourself getting impatient or doubtful, return to your 4 a.m. practice. Ask for clarity or for signs that you're on the right path. Often, reaffirming your trust in the universe can help you stay grounded and optimistic as you wait for things to unfold. Remember, this practice is not just about getting answers or achieving goals. It's about developing a deeper relationship with yourself and with the universe. Each time you show up at 4 a.m., ready to ask and listen, you're strengthening that connection. Over time, you may find that this practice becomes a cherished part of your spiritual journey, guiding you towards greater wisdom, peace, and fulfillment. As with any new practice, you might face some challenges when implementing the 4 a.m. method. Let's explore some common obstacles and how to overcome them. One of the biggest challenges of this practice is simply waking up at 4 a.m. It's natural to feel sleepy, especially when you're first starting out. Here are some strategies to help. Adjust your sleep schedule gradually. Start by waking up 15 minutes earlier each day until you reach 4 a.m. Go to bed earlier. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep by adjusting your bedtime accordingly. Create a bedtime routine that helps you wind down and prepare for sleep. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed, as blue light can interfere with your sleep cycle. If you're really struggling to stay awake, try sitting up in bed rather than lying down. You can even do this practice while standing if needed. Remember, it's okay if you doze off occasionally. The universe understands, and showing up consistently is more important than being perfectly alert every time. Doubt is a natural part of any spiritual practice. You might find yourself wondering if this really works, or if you're just imagining things. Here's how to handle doubt. Acknowledge your doubts without judgment. It's normal to have questions and uncertainties. Keep a record of your experiences, including any positive changes or insights you've gained. This can serve as evidence of the practice's effectiveness. Remember that doubt often comes from our logical mind, which isn't always equipped to understand spiritual experiences. Try to approach your practice with an open heart rather than a critical mind. Share your experiences with like-minded people. Sometimes, hearing about others' successes can help reinforce your own belief. If doubt persists, make it part of your practice. Ask the universe for signs or clarity about your doubts. Sometimes, you might feel like you're not receiving any guidance at all. This can be frustrating, but it's not uncommon. Here are some things to try. Be patient. Sometimes answers come later in the day or even days after your practice. Check if you're asking the right questions. Sometimes we need to rephrase our questions to get clearer answers. Pay attention to your feelings. Sometimes the answer is a subtle shift in how you feel about a situation. Try different methods of receiving. If you're not getting verbal messages, look for signs in your environment or pay attention to your dreams. Consider if there's something blocking you from receiving. Sometimes fear or resistance can interfere with our ability to hear guidance. Trust that even if you don't hear anything, the universe is still listening. Sometimes silence is an answer in itself. The 4 a.m. method, inspired by Louise Hay's teachings, offers a powerful way to connect with the universe and receive guidance. By waking up at this special time, asking clear questions, and staying open to answers, you can tap into a wellspring of wisdom and support. Remember, this practice is a journey. It may take time to adjust to the early wake-up call and to develop your ability to receive and interpret guidance. Be patient with yourself and trust in the process. As you continue with this practice, you may find that it becomes more than just a way to get answers. It can become a sacred time for self-reflection, spiritual growth, and deepening your connection with the universe. The key is consistency. Even if you don't see immediate results, keep showing up. Each time you practice, you're strengthening your connection with the universe and opening yourself up to new possibilities. As Louise Hay often said, the point of power is always in the present moment. By dedicating this early morning time to connecting with the universe, you're claiming your power and co-creating your life in partnership with the universe. So set your alarm, open your heart, and get ready to receive. The universe is waiting to share its wisdom with you. Who knows what amazing insights and opportunities await you at 4 a.m. Remember, you have the power to shape your reality, and the universe is always there to support you. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and watch as your life transforms in beautiful and unexpected ways.